As controversial as it is, maybe because it's so controversial, this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. Why do Americans like, or at least vote for, Donald Trump? In fact, just yesterday I was asked yet again, do the Americans not see him say these things? Why is he allowed to do this? How did he get elected? I'm an American, but I've lived in Germany for about 15 years now. And one thing I really like about being here is the media environment. There's no Fox News, no big right-wing news network constantly defending Trump. So, as a result, hardly any Germans believe things like, Trump is a great businessman, or he tells it like it really is. You just don't hear those arguments here. Hey, just a quick note. If you're learning English and want to go beyond textbooks, you're in the right place. I teach English using Comprehensible Input, which means you learn the language by hearing and seeing real English in context, not by memorizing grammar rules. Not only is this more enjoyable, it's way more effective. If that sounds good to you, hit like, subscribe, and keep watching. It really helps me reach more people so I can help them. Also, the transcripts of everything I say are available for free on my website. I'll leave the link in the description. Now, if an American Trump supporter were watching this video, they'd probably already be thinking, you're just brainwashed by the liberal media. And they'd say Germans are brainwashed too, that the Germans just also have fake news. And honestly, that's a really good place to start. I remember the moment when it felt like America split into two different versions of reality. It was right after Trump's inauguration, when he lied about the size of the crowd at his swearing-in ceremony. He said it was the biggest ever, bigger than Obama's. Now, Trump lying wasn't a surprise, but this time it was super easy to prove him wrong. We had photos. You could literally look at aerial shots from Obama's and Trump's inaugurations side by side, and you could objectively see that Obama's crowd was much bigger. It was obvious. But instead of admitting it, Trump just said the media was lying. And then his press secretary, Kellyanne Conway, got on camera and said something that's now kind of famous. When a reporter asked her why Trump was lying, she said, well, we have alternative facts.
Excuse me, it does not excuse, and you did not answer the question.
I did answer your question.
No, you did not. You did not answer the question of why the president asked the White House press secretary to come out in front of the podium for the first time and utter a falsehood. Why did he do that? It undermines the credibility of the entire White House press office on day one.
Don't be so overly dramatic about it, Chuck. You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts.
I love how she pauses before she says it. Like even she knows how ridiculous it sounds. But that moment really shows something important. In the US, people don't just have different opinions anymore. They have different facts. And that's a big reason why Trump still has so much support. So here's the first big reason why Americans vote for Trump. They get totally different information. It's like they live in a different world. If you only watch Fox News or listen to certain podcasts or influencers, you're going to hear one version of the story. As former President Barack Obama once said, if I watched Fox News all the time, I wouldn't vote for me either. On the other hand, if you watch CNN or read the New York Times, you'll hear another, vastly different story. And because people are getting completely different versions of reality, they come to very different conclusions. In a way, these people live in two different places, even though the physical space is the same. It's like two countries occupying the same exact space. But it's not just about the media. There are some deeper cultural reasons, and I think it's important to talk about those too, especially for people outside the US who don't get it. This might sound weird, but it's true. Some Americans like that Trump is rude. They think he's real. When he insults someone or refuses to apologize, they see it as strength. They think he's saying what everyone's really thinking, or that he's just trolling the left. By the way, when you troll someone, it means to say things just to get someone angry or really upset, even if you don't really mean what you say. So a lot of Trump supporters think that when Trump says he wants to run for a third term, something that's against the Constitution and would be a real sign that he imagines himself more like a king than a president, well, these Trump supporters say when he says that, he's just trolling the left. And to these people, it's funny. And to make people worried that Trump will want a third term is just trolling them. Trump breaks all the rules of being polite or politically correct. And this is exactly why people like him, especially for people who feel like the world is always judging them or telling them what to say. Trump feels like a breath of fresh air. Especially in more rural parts of the US, there's a strong feeling that America has lost its way morally. So while the American Constitution insists on the separation of church and state, a lot of Americans want to see religion, specifically Christianity, back in public schools. They are angry at having to respect others' religion's rights all the time, while having to deny their own faith. For example, many public schools allow Muslim students to leave class briefly to perform their prayers. In fact, schools must allow this as it is protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution. So, as you might imagine, Christians get angry and say, why are Muslims allowed to pray in school while we can't? Well, the fact is, Christians can pray in school. They can privately do so whenever they wish. But some Christians want it to be organized prayer and led by teachers. So even though all of their individual rights of practicing their faith are protected, Christians want it more institutionalized and have the religion more part of the everyday running of public school. For this reason, they view the government's emphasis on equal treatment of all religion not as fairness, but pushing Christianity to a less important place in society. They want to say Merry Christmas and not Happy Holidays. And as crazy as it may seem to an outsider, Christians see Trump as the great defender of their Christian values. Even if he himself is not particularly religious, or for that matter, very moral. In fact, when speaking at a huge religious university called Liberty, instead of saying 2 Corinthians, which everyone in that room knew it was called, Trump said 2 Corinthians.
And I asked Jerry and I asked some of the folks, because I hear this is a major theme right here, but 2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17, that's the whole ballgame.
Which made it clear he never went to church much and probably didn't read the Bible. But the all-Christian crowd at Liberty still liked Trump because he was talking about how religion was being persecuted by the government and the Washington elites. What matters to these voters is that Trump nominates conservative judges, protects religious freedoms as they see them, and aligns with evangelical priorities. Priorities like opposing abortion or defending traditional family roles by limiting marriage to mean strictly between a man and a woman. Not only Christians felt poorly represented by the American government. Many Americans think the government is corrupt and broken. They believe politicians are controlled by big corporations and special interests. So they didn't just want change, they wanted to burn the whole thing down. For people like that, Trump was the perfect candidate. He wasn't a typical politician. He was chaotic, loud, unpredictable, and they loved it. Let's be honest, the world is complicated. But Trump doesn't talk like things are complicated. He says, this is right, this is wrong. We're good, they're bad. And for some people, that feels real good. They don't want to hear, it's complicated. They want someone who sounds confident and says he'll fix everything.
Is easy. Presidential's easy. Not using profanity is very easy. Right. We're all going to make a deal on healthcare. That's such an easy one. You're going to have such great healthcare at a tiny fraction of the cost, and it's going to be so easy. It would be very easy and very quick to get gasoline prices down. I can take care of China in my back pocket. That's easy for me. Russia? Wow, that's a pretty easy one. It would be so easy for me to terminate this man, ruin his life, ruin his family, taking candy from like that beautiful little baby, okay? So easy.
This desire for black and white, for clear answers, it shouldn't be underestimated in Trump's rise. You have about 50% of the country who are essentially voting for a king-type authoritarian. Of course, they don't see it this way. They think they're voting for a president and that they just want a strong country, and that if you think otherwise, you're just listening to fake news. But this is what has become so, well, dangerous. This desire for a strong leader who says, we're right, they're wrong. Many on the right are quick to call CNN fake news or biased. But while they imagine they have discovered a great secret, it's only one side of the coin. Of course, different news sources have a bias. Just as I have a bias, I cannot not have a bias. I have a way of seeing the world. Much as if I climb a mountain, I will see the world differently from on top than down in the valley. Both ways of seeing the world are valid, and both ways look different depending on the perspective. But this is not black or white thinking. And a lot of Trump supporters don't see their opinion as bias, but the truth, the only truth. They have a monopoly on the truth, and it is owned by Donald Trump. This too might be connected to the more religious worldview where strong believers like the clarity that truth exists in one place, for them, the Bible, and they don't have to engage with all these different ideas of truth or to treat another person's idea of truth as equal. This also corresponds or fits well with the worldview that sees strong men as great leaders. Trump never apologizes. He's mean to people, and some people view this as strength.
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Oh, maybe that's what I said.
To some worldviews, having someone who never apologizes or never admits mistakes is a sign of strength. We can't ignore this either. A lot of Trump supporters are sick of what they call woke culture. They're tired of being told what words they can use, how to talk about race or gender, or that they're automatically racist or sexist. And honestly, some parts of the left do sound judgmental or holier than thou. They talk like they're morally superior, and that really annoys a lot of people. So Trump feels like the guy who fights back. He says the quiet part out loud. For people who've been afraid to speak their minds, that feels powerful, even if what they're saying is offensive. To summarize the anti-woke position, these people basically think that I should be able to say whatever I want, no matter how offensive, and if you are offended, then, well, that's your problem. Get over it.
You know, when I was younger, like, Democrats were cool. They were getting their dick sucked in the office. They were like, right? They were like supportive of like hip hop music. They said, do whatever you want. Like, we don't want to be in your bedroom. They were cool with gay people. Like, it was cool to be a Democrat. Now, conservatives got 3 baby mamas. The president got 3 baby mamas. He's getting pussy left and right. Right? He's cool. He's the one saying, say whatever the fuck you want. So now conservatives have become Democrats. So I don't think I've changed. I just like the dudes that get pussy and say whatever they want.
So yeah, that's one way to put things. Unfortunately, the guy you just watched, the one with the really sophisticated political opinion, he's a pretty popular comedian, and his influence on the 20 to 30-year-old male demographic definitely helped Donald Trump win against Kamala Harris. One last thing. I haven't mentioned until now, but I honestly think one big reason Trump keeps winning is because America still isn't ready for a woman president. Trump beat Hillary Clinton, he beat Kamala Harris, but he's never won an election against another man. And I think a lot of voters, maybe even without realizing it, just aren't comfortable with a woman being in charge. So for those of you watching from outside of the US, I hope this helped explain a little of why Donald Trump still has so much support, even if it's about 50%, and even when he seems so dangerous or absurd from the outside. It's about more than just politics. It's culture, identity, media bubbles, and a lot of emotion. You don't have to agree with any of it, but if you want to understand America today, you can't ignore it either.